everyone, and welcome back to Art with Miss Choate. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be turning our old toilet paper tubes into flower vases. And we're going to be making paper flowers. Now, if you don't have a toilet paper tube, I know I only gave you a warning about it yesterday if you caught yesterday's video. We can also use other things we have around the house. Like for instance, if you have a little pot even that's empty, if you have a paper towel tube, if you just have simply a little bowl, anything you're willing to tape flowers, fake flowers into for a little bit, then that's fine. So if you don't have one of these, we can use something else in the house. So we're gonna be using paper, toilet paper tubes, and our markers, color pencils, crayons, paint, whatever you want. So let's get started. So let's go over the supplies we're gonna need. Either a toilet paper tube, or like I have this little plastic thing from the Dollar Tree that can work really well, or like I said earlier, a little bowl. This is gonna be for our vase. Then for our flowers, we're gonna be using construction paper or any colorful paper you have. That could include like cardboard boxes that you can cut up, or cereal boxes are kind of colorful. So any of those things we can use. You do want it to be kind of stiff. If your paper is really light, then you can attach it to a piece of cereal box. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna think about our toilet paper tube itself. I'm gonna paint mine a little bit of brown to give it a little texture. I'm thinking kind of like a log, because I don't like the little bits of TP left on it. So I'm going to just give it some texture, some little color on it. Now you don't have to do this step. You could also do it with markers. I might go back and add some marker detail, because you don't want to just ignore this and leave it alone and be like, I guess I didn't think about it. You want to think about every aspect of your art when you're making it. That also includes your brush strokes. Are you going up and down? Are you going side to side? Are you doing all over the place? Now you'll notice I'm not worried like my hands in the wet paint, but it's fine because that's going to just give it some more texture right now. Now that looks a little bit better, now I could go in either with a different color, and you can really play with the colors, because it's not going to show very much. I'm giving it a little bit of red. Or you could even think about just painting it like a vase. You know, I'm thinking tree trunk, because those are on my desk. I have a lot of bark things, so I like that. So I'm going to leave that now to the side. Or if you had something like this, then that's fine as well. Oops. So the next thing we're going to be doing, now that we have our base, we're going to be cutting out our flowers. Now you might want to draw them in pencil first, and we can kind of think about some like fun shapes. They don't have to be, you know, all looking the same. So I'm going to do one, and maybe even go with like the way that your paper is. Like I'm using scrap paper, so I'm kind of going to go with that. And I want to have fun with this. And you need to make sure you give yourself a stem, because that will be put into the TP roll. Now if you need to look at some images to cut flowers, or I'm just kind of making some up. Now remember, you can keep these little scraps. They can be turned into things later. So I have my first little one, and we're going to be taping them in like that. So you'll also tape or glue will work. We won't see on the inside of it, so it doesn't matter what kind of tape you have. Kind of got to reach in there. Got our first one. I'm thinking about some foliage. Ooh, that's a difficult word, guys. And remember what I said about using the scraps? That's why I'm kind of going abstract with it. I can put this guy here. I'm gonna hold on to him to the side because we're gonna arrange it like we arrange a bouquet, you know? So I'm gonna put that. I don't like that hard edge, but I do like that. And that can be used later as well. So I'm setting them aside. And now maybe I'll do like a tulip on this one. And we can add a stem onto that. I realized I didn't pull out any green. Okay, so I have some green. And I'm gonna cut, this can be 2 stems because we don't need it that tall. So this can end up being 2. And remember now we can either glue it or tape it. I'm gonna use a little bit of glue just in case the backside shows. Now, speaking of the backside, you could do yours double-sided if you have enough paper, so you can look at it from both sides. I'm gonna be doing this so you can only view it from one side. If you saw it from the other side, you'd see that. Or I guess, depending on what your paper is, you could color it with marker. This is where I want you guys to be creative with it. I'm just trying to use the supplies I have in my house. What do you guys have in yours? Getting them in there in the right arrangement might be a little difficult, so try your best. There we go. I like how that's looking. And think about them overlapping as you go. And we could also do some circles. I know I talk a lot about circles. We could do some kind of thinking about a sunflower, like I think about like lollipop flowers. Those don't actually exist, but I sometimes like to make them with my students. And we can put that in the center. Remember I said you can also use markers, color pencils, crayons. So I'm going to do that on this flower. And here's my stem for it. So I'm just going to attach it now that my glue's open. Now you could be doing this with white paper and doing all the coloring yourself. That also works. So I'm actually going to do some little details. You could also turn these into like Zentangle flowers because I really like to calm down with Zentangles. I know they work really well for a lot of people. That's why I'm giving that idea. And if you're a perfectionist, you might want to do this detail stuff in pencil first to make sure you like what you're doing. And then I really liked that gel pen from yesterday. I love that little glitziness it has. So again, you're going to be learning your supplies that you have in your home. What are your favorites? What are you drawn to? There's no right and wrong. I'm just kind of making a little abstract bouquet. I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm really into this gel pen. There. And I could even add a little leaf, or I could add other little detail, maybe like that, kind of like that. Overlapping is something that I know can be difficult to learn, difficult to start to understand, but it's so important when it comes to the art process. We want to overlap our objects. So like that's overlapping the purple, this is overlapping the green. Now, if you're like me and you don't want anyone to see inside, I think I'm gonna take some tissue and stuff it in there. Or like I could fill it up with some beads or some rocks. But I'm really starting to like how that's turning out. Let's keep going with a few more. Now remember what I said, if you don't have any colored paper, that's fine. Take some white paper, take some paints, take some markers. If you have a wide brush, boom, look how quick I painted that. Oh, and I love how that's curling. Yes, let's paint the other side, because I'm realizing more and more that if you guys can, make yours double-sided. It's better. Oh no, it got rid of the curl. Maybe I can get that curl to come back. So let's see, if I curl it, I loved how that looked. If I put that in there, maybe if I change up the shape a little bit. Now if you're cutting it right after you painted it, it's gonna be a little delicate, so do be careful. Okay, it's not curling anymore, but I still really like it. Now you could go around it, really play with how you want it and where you want it. Now this one's a little flimsier, so I'm probably gonna need to put it further down into my vase. And if you're doing this with somebody younger, you may have to help them getting these tapes to really stick in there, because I'm even finding it frustrating. And like I said, let's use all of our pieces. Now this is where it would have been nice maybe to wait, because I think this could be nice behind it. Maybe I'll just put it right there with glue. That works. Okay, I kind of like how that gives it a little bit more green into my vase. And let's do one more flower. So I like to use the shapes that I have already. So I'm going to put those there, something like that. Maybe something behind it. I guess I'm just creating flowers now. Don't know if a flower that looks like this exists. But that's okay, I'm imagining my own little garden. And don't forget that you can go in, add detail with marker. There we go. Oops. That glue does not want to stay. And now this will be our last flower that we put in the arrangement. Oh, I like it down there. I don't even have to tape that one because I like it there. So there we go. We got a nice little bouquet. You can put some tissue, or if you have some fake flowers that you want to put in and you want to really make this multimedia and interdisciplinary, feel free. One last thing, I found these little scraps from our that tree that we made the other day, and so I'm actually going to stick those in there as little extra foliage. I know I went to look for tissue. Instead, I come back with more paper. kind of like how that's filling up this. Oh, I didn't like how far down those went. It's like a balancing act. And we can even bend them. Yeah, I like that. Now I can put this flower back in. If I want, I could put this in but bend it over. Because think about all the dimensions. There we go. Now I don't even have to worry about tissue because I filled up that center enough. So I hope you had fun repurposing those toilet paper tubes or any other random recycling you have around your house. I hope you had fun doing that with us today. And if you have any comments or feedback, I'd love to hear it. So please comment below or send me your art via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, literally all the social media platforms. Just tag me in it. And then lastly, please do subscribe so you get notified when I make a new video, which is every day at 9 a.m. So please pass this along, share the art love. You know me, I'm an art teacher. I think art is the way to cope with everything. And I know it's what's getting me through this time. I'm thinking every day, what project am I gonna do? And after I'm done with this project, I make my own art. So seriously, art is such a good coping tool. So please like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you tomorrow for Art with Miss Choate. Bye.